Progressive presents Mindfulness with Flo.
Your aura brims with confidence. The Name Your Price tool has given you policy options based on your budget. A source of great power rises from within, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex that can shoot dragons out of its eyes, riding on a tank.
Get insurance based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hello, hello, and hello. Welcome to another edition of A Different Identity. This show is being brought to you by our good friends and media partners at May We Help You Radio. My name is Lawrence Jackson, and I am being joined by my controversial cousin host, author Pamela Mintz. Each week we share our insight, our perspective, and most of all, our experiences. Why do we do it? Because we want to show you the value of doing things differently. We believe that when you know better, you will do better. And better is exactly what we want you to be. Better in what you see, better in what you believe, and guess what? Your better starts today. So once again, it is time to talk about it on this edition of A Different Identity. Pamela.
Yes, I'm here.
Are you here?
I am. School has started. I'm still adjusting, but I'm here. How about that?
Okay, well, I'm going to be nice tonight. It seems like, the kids have gotten to you, so I won't add to your added stress.
Isn't that interesting that you would say that? But anyway, I have so much going on. It feels like I'm at an amusement park while I'm doing the show today. But
wow.
Hey, it's all good. Yes. So anyway, let's talk. So I want to remind everyone that we have a very active Facebook page. So if you, Identity Radio Talk Show, and ask to be a member, we would love to have you. We have very exciting, controversial conversations all week long, 24/7, about any and everything you could think of. Probably if you could think of it, we've talked about it. And if we haven't, then join us so we can talk about it. So, again, that page is A Different Identity Radio Talk Show page, and you can find us on Facebook. Also, if there's a topic that's just burning it within your soul, and you say, I need some advice. They sound like they could help me. You just might be right. Send us an email at adifferentidentity@gmail.com. Maybe we can help you get through that relationship issue that you have going on. And with that being said, Lord, let's be controversial.
All right, so folks, welcome to A Different Identity. And, first and foremost, let me thank each and every one of you who take the time out of your busy schedules to listen to us, go back and forth. We hope that something, is being said that you can get something from. And tonight is going to be one of those topics, I believe. So, Pam, this topic of how do you date? And originally I was going to name it, This Is How I Date, but I didn't. I figured I'd throw that in during the show. And so let me kind of give you some background, and let me give you a little bit about where this topic came from. So, you know me, I'm always reading stuff. And I read this article. I was reading this article, and this lady was talking about how she hadn't had any success dating. And so I guess she was kind of going through her emotions, And she said something. She said, well, this is how I date. And it was so intriguing to me. And I was like, And I thought about it and I wrote it down. And then I happened to have the opportunity the other night to have a conversation with a really good friend of mine who is, quote unquote, back on the dating scene. And she told me about this event that she attended, how it was like a mixer or something like that. And she talked about how the guys were on one side of the room and the ladies were on the other side of the room, and they never commingled. And she talked about how finally this one guy got the nerve to come over to her and say something. And, he was quite her junior, we'll do it to say it like that. And he said to her, what do you think about Netflix and chill? And she had no clue. She's of our age. And she was like, what the heck is a Netflix and chill? And so it just made me think about the different dynamics of people's, this is how I date. You have people who say you have to take me to the movies. You have people that say you have to take me to dinner in the movie. You have people who say I'd rather go to a coffee shop. You have people who say I want Netflix and chill. And so do you think the way that people date, and I'm going to get into some of the different dynamics, but I kind of want to give you a chance to give the female perspective on it. Do you think that women dictate how they're dated?
Yes.
And why do you say
Very much so. Because normally we come from that era where a man asks a woman on a date.
Mm-hmm.
And normally he will say, well, what would you like to do?
You're
it is up
good.
to her. It's normally up to her for a suggestion. So some men will say, would you like to go out to eat? Would you like to do movies? It all depends on the flow or the place in which the two have met. With the online dating thing now, they may not be so quick to take you out on a date and might just want a quick meet and greet. But if
Netflix
you meet
and chill?
someone, I would hope not. But we'll come back to that. Because I got a lot to say about that. But, I would think that if they met you and at something, for example, as a quick mixer or a dating, some type of social event, that they would be more apt to choose a real dating scene or situation such as dinner to talk. Most people stay away from movies for first dates because they can't talk. It's a movie you're watching, so you don't get that advantage of talking to get to know someone. So I would say that it is the woman's choice. So, for example, the scenario you named, that was just funny to me. So so when he walks up, young, it sounds like somebody young, and they say Netflix and chill. The average woman our age is going to say what she said or no, because you're at that point inviting her to your home for a date, or you're asking to go to her house for a date and watch a movie. It's too soon in a relationship to be Netflixing and chilling, because we all know that Netflix and chilling sets an ambiance for a situation that you're not yet ready for in your relationship.
Hot relations?
Yeah, hot relations, like we talked about last week.
Okay.
So I think that's not an advantage. That's not a good option. But I think that young people, they weren't exposed to what we were exposed to, so they don't know the little cute things. But I won't go too far. But they don't know. I say they don't know about dating.
Okay. So I don't want to get too far off of that. And so let's talk about this. So if you have a particular dating style or you have particular things that you like to do when you're out on a date, what happens when you are introduced to somebody who doesn't like to do those types of things?
They're probably not your dating match. They're probably not your dating match, or they just haven't been exposed to something. I think that even people our age have gotten lazy and have no clue or have forgotten about what it takes to date a person. Or what that
And why do you say that?
Because we've gotten so we acclimate to young people. Older people acclimate to what the young people doing. Let's Netflix and chill. Won't you cook me dinner? Why don't we just meet at the coffee shop? Those are not dates.
But it's not, and so that's the thing. It's not a date according to who?
Again, according to the woman who should be setting the tone.
See, and so that's one of the things that I definitely want to talk about, because I feel like the meaning of dating, the process of dating, the protocol of dating is getting to know someone. It's establishing a connection. And so what you're trying to figure out, in my opinion, is, do I connect with this person? And on the flip side of it is, does this person have any distractions? Does this person have anything, are they a leech? Are they a robber? Are they whatever? Those are the things that you're trying to find out, that you're trying to connect with, to figure out if now I want to move forward. And so I think that...
Now, wait a minute, let's stop right there. Let's stop. That's exactly why I said you're not doing Netflix and chilling. You're not getting a home-cooked meal. You're not getting any of those things, because you need to be outside of the home to see who this person is.
I got you.
Not chilling, setting the ambiance for hot relations.
Okay. So how do you know that in the dating, that the date or the dating is functioning effectively from a woman's perspective?
How well the conversation is going, whether you feel like you want to be around that person for another second, or you just can't wait to leave. I mean, if there are signs. There's signs. I mean, you've gone out with people, and I know I have, and I'm sure a lot of women can speak to this, that you've gone out with people and you could not wait for it to be over. You cannot wait to get away from that person. You don't even want to look at them another second. So that's how you know you don't want to be there. The conversation, how you're being treated, how you treat them, especially the conversation. So things that are being said. So topics. So if, okay, there's a transparent paying moment, because I'm going to put this out there. I'm no longer single, so I don't have to be politically correct in my answer. So I'm going to say this. In Pam's world, and it's probably a lot of other women probably can vouch for this, is that I always say I don't do dummies.
Okay.
So when we're having a conversation and you obviously have no clue when I start talking about current events, or when I start talking about anything that is important in today's world, and you're looking at me like I'm talking to a 5-year-old, because you have no clue about what I'm saying, then we have no longer can have a conversation. In my eyes, you're now a dummy.
Or boring. Somebody just sent me a text message. Thank you.
Hey. Well, whatever.
That's okay.
But
you talked about
again, I just think that it depends on the conversation. So for some people, it's a conversation, and it could be for man and woman too. It's certain things, I'm sure, that if he talks to her and she looks kind of crazy, that means that she's not adaptable to different situations. So I'm sure even, the one thing about dating to me is like an interview. So you are interviewing that person to see if they fit the job. So just like every interviewer that works for human resources has a style, or a manager has a style in which or how they interview a person, it's the same principle for people that are dating. You are interviewing a person to find out if they fit your lifestyle. If the two lives can come together, work harmoniously together to get the job done. And that's
but you also know that people who get hired, they've been hired, and now what?
Right, they get fired. Plain and simple. You have a performance appraisal, which you got a probation period, right? You get a probation, like a job. You have a probation period, usually 90 days. Some of it's 30. After 90 days, you know if you are long-term or short-term. Some people just hire like a contract job. You just temporarily, I don't know if I'm ready to do this or not. Maybe I'll hire you I'll give you the full-time position, but let's see if you can handle this temporarily or on a contract basis. Okay. Then we reevaluate you at a certain point. We realize, no, well, you know, hey, he has taken me to the movies. We had a great time. We laughed. He's funny. His jokes aren't over the top. He has gentleman quality. You know, I think that some people walk into dating with just like, again, it's like a job description. They have a list. And that's not necessarily me, but I think that some people do, and sometimes the list fails them, but I think that they walk in with a list. I bet you, the friend that you're speaking about, I bet you in her mind, even though she had not written anything down, she had a list in her mind of what was negotiable and non-negotiables, from his appearance to the way he talks. So when that young thing walked up, regardless of what he said, he first was judged as a young thing. Not the maturity played a role immediately. And that wasn't her cup of tea. So I think that we have these non-negotiables that we've already put in our head about dating. So before we even get to the talking, we started with the physical.
Okay, so those non-negotiables are you have to be able to dress, you have to be light-skinned, you have to have curly hair, you have to dress in the latest fashions. When you going to stop me?
I'm not going to.
So every guy has to be light-skinned and curly hair, or they got to look like Idris Elba, or they got to look like Morris Chestnut or Tyrese, like.
I'm not going to say that that's every woman's description, but I'm sure that every woman has a mental description of what her ideal guy looks like. Now, we'll add this as we get older, that changes, but I think that every woman does have that. Every man does too. I've talked to men that straight up gave me some descriptions, and I laughed because, you know, one guy, and I hope he don't kill me, he said to me, Pam, I might not never find a wife unless I go to a Christian convention of retired strippers.
Oh, my.
Because his ideal of what she looked like. So men have it too. It just comes out differently.
Okay. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the normal protocols of dating. And so you talked about the conversation, you talked about the treatment, you talked about how the conversation goes. You know, he makes me laugh, he takes me here, he pulls out chair. Is that the normal protocol for dating as you get older, just like you mentioned?
I will say that, yes, as you get older, there are some requirements, and there should be, because now you are on a different playing field. When you're, you know, when we start off dating and we're teenagers and we're in our 20s, you know, it's fun, it's flirty, it's, you know, you may not be as serious because our parents tell us, you know, you just want to get friends. You don't want to get all serious at this stage in life. You got so much life to live, you know, enjoy. enjoy school, enjoy dating. Don't get all serious. So it's flirty and fun. But by the time you get to our age, you're now established in your career. You've raised families. Some are divorced. Some are still been single. And, you have a different idea of how you want your life going forward. So you may not find that buff guy that looks like he in the gym 5 days a week with excellent health and no kids. You may not find the gentleman who is, I'm going to say this, you may find at our age the man who has the gray-black mix in his beard, and he has a little belly because he drink a beer every now and again, or as he's getting older, his stomach just is a little over his belt. He's handsome, he's in his career, but his weight may not be exactly where you want it to be. You may find that he's at the end of raising his kids. He has one that's maybe 16, but he done slipped up and now he got a 5 or 6 year old. So I think that sometimes the ideals, so to speak, that we're looking for even now may not be exactly what we find. I think that sometimes, like I said, it changes from flirty fun, let's run around the world, run around the house, run around the world naked type of thing. It's not that anymore, not that hippie type fun flirty, but now it's more what can we grow older together type dating.
Okay, so let me say this.
A lot more serious.
It is, definitely. So let me say this. So I remember watching this movie, and the guy goes up to a girl. He starts trying to talk, and she's like, wait a minute. Do you have your own place? Do you live with your mom? Do you have your own car? Do you have, is that normal protocol for dating? Does that determine whether or not somebody can meet your expectation? Whether or not they live with their mom, whether or not they have a job, whether or not they have a car, whether or not they have a bank account. Are those things important?
Of course they are. You're getting
older,
whereas I didn't, but I didn't name.
You said good conversation. You said he had to be handsome.
Excuse me. I'm not on. This is not interview Pam, Jack. So Pam is just throwing out some options. So my list was not all inclusive. It was a few things. So again, everybody's list is different. And if I had to sit down and do a list, it would include a lot more things than what I mentioned. But again, some things are specific to specific people. But again, as a whole, I think that if women were surveyed, they would say that their dating criteria in their 20s and 30s is a lot more different than their dating criteria in their 40s and 50s.
Okay, outside of criteria, we're talking protocols. So the protocol is what you expect, what you don't expect.
That's the same, but they're all the same. So we're just using different words to say the same thing. You're using protocol, I'm using criteria. Same thing, different words.
So, folks, if you are on the line, you have a question, you have a comment, give us a call, 646-652-2512. Press the number 1. Let our engineer know that you are on the line ready to talk to Lawrence and Pam. Tonight we are talking about how do you date. Quite frankly, are you the person that says, this is how I date? And
but I'll tell you this, but Lawrence, you know what? I'm going to jump in and say this. When I was out there dating, I did find that this question that we are tackling is a difficult one, because you will find that every single person you encounter dates differently. And I used to say this all the time, that this is a problem, because some people date with a straight intention in mind. I'm trying to find who I belong to in my life, and a husband, or I'm trying to find a wife. That's all I'm trying to do. Where another person will say, no, I'm just dating to have fun. I'm not interested in anything serious. So if that's what you like, I'm dating multiple people at one time. I'm not dating one person, bottom line. So it's so many variations to dating that this question that we're trying to answer tonight, probably just as controversial as is the world round.
Okay. All right, so let's do this real quick. If you have a question, you have a comment, give us a call, 646-652-2512, press the number 1. You can go to our chat room, which is at the May We Help You Radio Network. There is a page there for a different identity that you can send in your questions and comments there. Last but not least, you can also, if you have Pam and I's personal information, you can also send us a text, and we will make sure that we put your question or comment out there. But if you are a student or entry-level professional in the publication industry looking to gain skills or utilize your skills in managing and creating a digital magazine, this summer we had the pleasure of working with interns to run and manage our digital publication, and we want to continue that with you. So contact us if you are interested in learning how to maintain and run an online publication and other interesting intern positions. You can go to May We Help You Radio Network. The information is right there. Folks, we're going to continue with this conversation of how do you date. I'm going to turn it up a little bit in the second segment, and Pam has no clue what's coming. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
Benita's Tasty Tips number 6. How many glasses of wine can you get out of a bottle? Well, first, I need to know how big are those glasses. Seriously, though, a typical pour is about 5 ounces. If you keep it right there, you will get 5 glasses of wine out of each bottle. Visit me at thevinewineclub.com for wonderful choices in wine.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people in America live with a mental illness? Do you have the communication skills to help out if one is in a crisis? What if it's your best friend? Maybe your son or daughter? While crisis intervention isn't new, the book Crisis Intervention 101 is. It's easy to read, includes links to 2 videos, and it's under $10. Get your copy of Crisis Intervention 101 today on Amazon.com, because we all need help in a crisis.
Are you tired of the imposed views of today's society pushing its trends and images on your lifestyle? Then join Drs. Dennis Parker and Ellis Henderson on 2DocsAndAMic.com. 2 Docs and a Mic is designed to empower, serve, lead, teach, and guide you to a healthier self-image and self-respecting world. So visit 2DocsAndAMic.com and sign up for the newsletter, follow them on social media, and learn how you can get the conversation to your venue. That's 2DocsAndAMic.com. When there is no anger and liberation, they are freed by life, love, and society. And you can be too. In a fast-paced world, getting your message heard everywhere can still be a challenge if you're not connecting to your target audience. Allow MWHY Radio to assist you in getting your message heard on social media, video, digital magazines, on apps, and on our broadcast network. MWHY Radio's broadcast listeners tune in online through 10 terrestrial stations on iHeartRadio and during live events. Visit our Fiverr page for special offers throughout the summer to assist you in jumpstarting your advertising needs. That's www.fiverr.com/MWHY Radio. FIVER.com/MWHY Radio.
Hey, folks, welcome back to A Different Identity, Up Close and Personal with Lawrence and Pam. Tonight we are talking about how do you date? And we're going to go through, we kind of went through the whole protocol stage, and now I want to get into a little bit more of the meat and potatoes. But let me start off like this, Pam. I want to ask you a question, and then I'm going to kind of go through what I want to get to tonight, which will hopefully probably take us through the end of the show. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
So answer this question for me. Is fearful the same as cautious?
Fearful and cautious. No, they're different.
And why do you think they're different?
Fearful means that you have you're afraid. You have same word fear, but you are afraid. Cautious just means you're taking your time as you check your footing. You're sort of verifying that your footing is strong or stable before you take the next step.
Okay. So as you said that, and so you had your say during the first segment, I want to have mine to say, okay? And so we talked about the different protocols. We talked about the different things as it relates to the introduction, being introduced to somebody, going through the normal, the movies, the dinner, the Netflix and chill or whatever. So now if we move into that next place or that next stage, now you're beginning to like the person. Now you got a little bit more of your feelings involved. So this is what I consider the weird part of the relationship. And so now the person is beginning to uncover things to you. They begin to share with you some of the things that they've gone through, some of the things that they dealt with, and now they start with this fearful thing. And so even persons of our age. And so now I like him, but I can't, whatever, however you finish that sentence. And so one of the things that I want to get to tonight when we start talking about dating, and just like you said earlier, but I'm going to say it differently, is what's the point? You said that there are people who date exclusively to find a significant other. There are people who date to just have fun. There are people who date to have hot relations. We'll just say it like that. And so all of these different dynamics that you now have to navigate through, because a person can tell you, hey, I only want to be friends, and now they start to have feelings for you, and now things and the dynamics of the relationship start to change. And so now you start talking about the things that are necessary or the things that are needful to you. As a man, we are trying to figure out those things. So even in the dating, just like you said, we meet you, we ask you out on a date, we ask you where you want to go. We try to do things to accommodate you. And so in doing that, we're trying to, one, establish a connection, but we have to go through these guarded stages or these fearful stages. We have to deal with things like unconfronted hurts and unforgiving behavior and these little things of bitterness that kind of come out at inopportune times. And so with that, we're still trying to mature the relationship. We're trying to tell you we're going to be there. We're trying to tell you we're going to stand by you. We say, the things that you dealt with before, you won't have to worry about. But now things start to change and they start to shift. And so one of the things that I'm trying to figure out, again, even in this conversation, is how do you know? You met this person.
You want me to tell you? Can I jump in there?
Go for it.
I'm so glad you asked this question because I just had this conversation with someone. And I'm a true believer now that relationships, for one, that are meant to be, go through a test. And the test will either break or make the relationship the one. And I believe that relationships that are meant to be are not forced. You don't have to push. There's no anguish. You have your arguments, but they will not take you over the top. Now, first of all, if I have to all the time appease you because you always in your feelings,
wow,
that may be a sign that
wow,
I'm not supposed to be with you. If there is a person that every time I say something, I have to think about how I say it because I don't know how you're going to react, that might not be the relationship for you.
wow.
There are so many, I believe, signs that we avoid because we get to a place in life where we either think it's our last chance to get a relationship, or we've been in it so long at this point it just becomes habitual behavior to do these antics, which I'll call them, or we just feel like maybe we just need to push harder. In every single scenario, it's wrong. It's wrong. Relationships, no relationship is perfect, but there are relationships that don't require all of that pushing, pulling, tugging, and all of this work that it wears you out emotionally. I used to always say, I don't ever want to be in a relationship that I'm not happy. If my happiness is tampered with, then you're not for me. Because I'm gonna bring God into this. I'm going to flip the script on you, boo-boo. I don't believe that God allows his children to get into situations or relationships that if God-centered, he's not in control of. So if you find yourself in a bit of confusion all the time, God said he's not the author of the confusion. So that means if it's confusion all the time, every day, at least once a day, on the phone, in person, at the job, you calling me, you texting me, you when we get together, you arguing about this, that, or the other, you blaming me for did not do. God is not the author of confusion. So obviously, boo, you ain't for me either. Because if I'm saying that I want a God-centered relationship, God can't be the center of confusion. So
okay, and I get that.
That's a sign that the relationship is not for you. So I think, again, back to what I said in the beginning, sometimes we push, pull, tug on situations that we're not meant to be in. So how do you know? You'll know because if it's taking your energy versus giving you energy, there's a problem. That's how you know. So once you get beyond the little cute dates, and now you get into the meat, as you say, to the meat of really knowing this person. Once you pass that, once you get to the test, because you don't know at what point in your relationship the test is going to come. Once you get to the test, and everything that happens just drains me versus makes me happy, no, I don't need you, bro. I'm glad I got this one and know you. I think
too
that's
deep.
Too much.
It is too much.
No, it's
but
not.
everybody's not like that. Everybody's not like that. You know what? Some people are different. Some people are just different.
Fussing, complaining, arguing.
That's your perspective. That's your perspective, and that's your perception. It doesn't make it true.
I don't think. I believe that by conversation with women, okay, women as a whole, we are nurturers, okay. So granted, we are quick to fall for the sad sob story.
No, I don't agree. Don't agree. Yes, don't agree.
Can I get some women to call in?
This is what guys deal with all the time. We have to deal with y'all sad sob stories all the time. He hurt me, and the last time I was in a relationship, he said this to me, and I can't believe he said it. But what about your contribution to it? Uh-oh, we got somebody on the line.
All right, let's go. Kenya, where are you?
You guys. Hello.
Don't
Hi.
start no stuff, Kenya.
No, I'm not here to start stuff. I just
Let's see
wanted
what
to
you
ask
gotta
a
say.
question.
Okay, come on.
So I heard, Miss Pam, you expressed how you date. So, but I never heard you, Mr. Lawrence, tell how he dates. Is there a way you date?
I like you already. I love you, Kenya. Come on, put him on the
Yes,
put him on
Miss
the spot.
Pam.
Love it, baby, love it. Lawrence.
Hello, is he still here?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here. I'm just waiting for y'all to be quiet.
Okay, quiet.
Smart mouth.
I don't want to get into this segment. I'd rather get into that in the last segment. I got some questions I need to answer.
The devil is a liar. You're going to answer this question. We not moving forward.
Okay, I'll tell you how I date. I think that, I'm not going to say I think, I know that I date from the perspective of being a nurturer and making sure that the person that I'm dating, I've established some sort of connection with. All of the things that I've mentioned before. I think that for me, it's a basis of connecting. It's a basis of strengthening on those things that we have in common and making sure that I can strengthen her in the areas that she's weak and she can strengthen me in the areas that I'm weak. Yes, I have to be attracted to the person. Let's not get that twisted. That's all day. But again, I think I'm the type of person, I know that I'm the type of person that I don't follow a normal protocol. I am a different kind of person. I'm more relative to the person that I'm dating. I want to know what they want to do and how I can help them get there, because that's the same that I want for me. And if there are things that are, as I mentioned before, unconfronted, unforgiving behaviors and things of that nature, I want to know so I don't make the same mistakes. That's what it's all about to me. And probably my dating protocols have changed as I've gotten older, because you realize at the end of the day, past somebody looking good, past somebody having big breasts, past somebody having a big butt, you want to know that at the end of the day, I can have a conversation with this person, and anything that we go through, anything that we deal with, even if it's a break in it or whatever, we can still come back together.
You don't want to talk to that big butt?
Can't trust a big butt and a smile nowadays.
You knew I had the message. You know that. You
Listen, I've gotten past those things, because again.
Okay, so you're saying as a man, when you get older, you get beyond the physical, those major attributes that you have to have. Are you saying that?
Listen, if somebody has a big butt but they treat me bad, it's a turnoff to me. I don't care how somebody looks at the end of the day. If they have an ugly attitude or they display ugly behavior, they are ugly to me.
Now let me ask
and
you
it's
something.
no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
So you gave a Lawrence opinion. I want to hear you as a man, men talk, just like women talk. What is the general consensus among men as far as what you just answered?
Again, I think that it's the necessary, it's the needful. You want to know from your mate that they need you and you need them. It becomes mutually beneficial.
How I think that you're saying that for the men, as a consensus, you hear that most men are interested when they are looking to date. They're looking from a nurturer viewpoint.
We even if we don't recognize it or we call it that, that's what we do. When we find out there's something that's wrong with y'all, we try to fix it, right? If there's a place that you want to go, we make sure we take you there. If there's something that you want to do, we make sure that you do it. So we have to do it. See, both of y'all got quiet. That's what. See, hello. Am I still on here? Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But what happened when we run into y'all little distractions? Well, the last time I dated somebody, this happened. Well, the last time he hurt me. Well, the last time.
Excuse me,
who cares about that?
You know, You know I ain't letting you get away with that because men do the same darn thing.
Absolutely, that's true.
I don't think so.
I
don't think so.
Men don't want to admit it, but you need to be checked on the same thing. If we do something that resembles what she did, we get thrown to the corner and don't know why, because men aren't so apt to talk about it. And we find out later through a conversation that maybe we did something. Hold
on. I got a chat room listener says I seem a little mad about this topic. I'm just passionate about what I talk about. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. I'm passionate about the connection of people. And so here it is. We go through all of these different things and we get nothing out of it. Because you break up and you go your separate ways, you go to the next person with what? You're going to try the same thing all over again. The lady said it in the article. This is how I date. So if you can't take me to the movies, if you can't do this, if you can't take me on vacation, if you can't do this, then don't date me. Well, dang, what happened?
Again, I think one of the major issues with dating is that men aren't so apt to admit that they have some hurts to deal with too. And whether you want to admit it or not, Lawrence, there are just as many men out here with unsaid hurts that need to be healed as well.
Why? Because we put ourselves out there to make sure y'all have all the stuff that y'all need and all the stuff that y'all want.
It's not. But
Lawrence, have you ever been hurt, Lawrence?
Who, me? Never.
Okay, I was just asking. You sound like it.
I told you I'm passionate when I speak, and you don't be trying to call me out on the radio here. We just met.
Okay.
Well, she recognizes the truth, though, huh? She's a smart woman.
Hey. Just calm yourself. All right, so really quickly, you can visit the MWHY Radio Network site and receive a free trial of Hootsuite. When you sign up today, you will receive a free 30-day trial of Hootsuite Pro. Hootsuite's unique social media dashboard allows organizations to manage multiple social networks, engage and identify their audience, and analyze your social media campaign. So visit MWHY Radio and sign up today for your free trial by clicking the Hootsuite logo. So Angry Lawrence is going to go to a quick commercial break and calm his nerves.
Yeah, I'll try to calm him down for you all during the commercial.
Benita's Tasty Tips number 7. When does the wine need to breathe? Most of the time, the wine that we purchase is immediately drinkable, but sometimes the reds taste a little drier, more acidic, and less fruit forward than we anticipated. Decant it for about 2 to 3 hours, or just open it and wait to drink it tomorrow after a little air has hit it. A little air goes a long way. Visit me at thevinewineclub.com for the best values in wine.
If you were designing the perfect dating site, what would you include? A private voice or video chat room? A private photo gallery and profile area? How about matches based on similar interests? And to keep it special, you could add profile blocking, no third-party intervention, spam protection, and even monthly drawings for great prizes, and more. That's exactly what you'll find at milesapart.dating. Visit milesapart.dating today and get a free 1-year membership while they last. That's milesapart.dating.
If you're the parent of a child with behavioral challenges that has been suspended, expelled, or just not able to make it in a traditional school setting, there is an alternative. Call the Metropolitan Day School today. Licensed and accredited grades K through 12. Call 804-321-2595. Financial assistance and after-school programs are available. Let's turn this school year around right now at the Metropolitan Day School, where Eagles soar. Call Ms. Thomas today. 804-321-2595.
Brought to you by on the May We Help You Radio Network.
Only on the May We Help You Radio Network.
Only on the May We Help You Radio Network.
Only on the May We Help You Radio Network.
Only on the May We Help You Radio Network.
Only on May We Help You Radio Network.
So on the May We Help You Radio Network.
MWHY Radio Network.
May We Help You Radio. on the May We Help You Radio Network.
Only on the May We Help You Radio Broadcast Network, the network that helps you.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to A Different Identity. Before we move on to the last segment of this show, May We Help You Radio Network wants to thank the Comfort Suites in Bloomfield, New Jersey. They hooked us up for our 5K race on Saturday. Thank you, Comfort Suites. Good evening, folks, and welcome back to A Different Identity. My name is Calm Lawrence. Thank you so much for all of the questions and the comments that you sent in this evening regarding my bad attitude. I thank you so very much. Thank you very much, folks. I appreciate it. I'm going to be calm for the remainder of the show. Thank you. Great. Hey, Pamela, how are you?
I'm great, Lawrence. How
So
are you?
let me ask you this question. When we talk about how you date, okay, how do you think, so if you have a normal protocol, if you have a normal process that you go through with people, do we stick with that all the time? Or do some people move through the process a little bit faster? Would you help us to understand that a little bit better?
You want to set Lawrence crazy. This is funny as I don't know what. Well, anyway, I think that we all set out with the greatest intentions in mind when it's time to date. But I think that all rules are broken 90% of the time for various reasons, whether it is about we like the person and we want to try regardless of what we thought we wanted, or we are enjoying the date so much and it's a person that we normally didn't think we would date.
Wow. That's great information, Pamela.
You all have set Lawrence crazy, so now he's not going to be angry anymore. That's funny.
So let me ask you another question, Pam. When we talk about the different things that people bring to us during the dating process, do you think we look at people as like a resource or someone who strengthens us in an area of our dating lives?
I don't think we confer with people about dating. We may discuss it in a group setting about dating and how you date versus how I date. But I don't think people on a general just basis go out and seek counsel about how they should date. I don't think that happens. Does that happen for men, Lawrence?
I think that sometimes when a man meets someone that he's very interested in and he wants to make sure that he's putting his best foot forward, I think he does seek wise counsel.
And who does he seek that wise counsel from, Lawrence?
I mean, it could be from his male counterparts. It could also be from female colleagues and people that are important in his life. Did I say that right?
Well, Lawrence, I got a text from someone that said, you're scary, though. That is funny. He's not scaring me. He's just making me laugh.
So, Pam, let me ask you this question. What signs, when we talk about dating, what things or what signs should we avoid?
Well, I think that everybody has their avoids. It's not a consensus.
Okay.
It's not a consensus. That's not something. Again, dating is an individual thing. What's avoidable for me might not be avoidable for her. So is there a general consensus about what to avoid when it comes to men?
No, I mean, I guess my question is more related to if a woman is displaying bitter behavior, should we try to get to the root of her bitterness, or should we just leave her alone? What things should we try and help navigate you through?
Well, I'll say this. When you're dating, you know, you have to decide for yourself when that action happens. If it's just a week into it and you got all of these extra dramatic situations, maybe that isn't something you should avoid. But if you are settled in your relationship and all of a sudden some things just happen that are dramatic that were not happening before, then maybe that's a conversation, because now feelings are involved and you care enough to try to figure out if that person is who you would want to spend the rest of your life with, because it might be workable. They might be going through a crisis on the job, a crisis in the family, and they just need your listening ear or your shoulder to cry on for that moment.
Gotcha. So let me ask this question as we kind of wind down tonight's show. Again, thank you to our special audience participants tonight for your wonderful feedback. I feel so much better now. So let me ask you this, Pam. Do you think in dating, do you think that we recognize what we put people through?
Absolutely not. It's funny because Lawrence, you done made the chat room listener feel bad.
I found my happy place tonight.
No, he's in his feelings. That's what it's called. It's in his feelings.
Yeah.
But he's in his feelings. But I think that I forgot what the question was.
Do we recognize what we put people through?
That's an aftermath. I think that's an aftermath situation. I think that I don't think we realize what we put people through. We dated until we lose the dating situation.
Okay. Any other insight you'd like to provide in that area?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Do you think that people could help strengthen our weaknesses?
Yes.
And why do you say that?
I think that sometimes when you date a person that gives you that confidence, forget about cares, who fills in gaps, so to speak, where in other situations it was a weak area, it gives you strength.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So last question before we kind of wind down tonight's conversation is, how do females measure a date, whether or not it was effective?
Well, no. I'm going to turn that one back on you. How do men, because we've already talked about how does a woman know that it's going well. How does a man know the date is going well, and so that he wouldn't have to be in his feelings if it went bad?
Great. Well, thank you for asking that question. I appreciate you leaning on my insight tonight. I appreciate that so very much. I think that you measure whether or not a relationship is effective by the conversation that you get, by the different interactions that you have with that person, and hopefully it goes to a new level where you talk more often, or you're texting, or you are sharing funny things with that person. You're now able to let your hair down a little bit, and you can share little jokes and things of that. You make pet names for people. You tell them how much you adore them and how much you appreciate them, and all of those wonderful things. I think that's how you measure effectiveness.
Oh, I thought men measured it by if they get a good night kiss or hot relations at the end.
No, I don't think so. I think, look, this is what I'll say about the whole intimacy thing. It's not something, and this is the Lawrence speak, it's not something that you wait for the moment. And I mean that in the sense of, okay, I bought you dinner, I took you to the movies, now you got to give me some. I think for a man, or for this man, I'll speak from my perspective, is when the moment is right, you know. Because there's no conversation that needs to be had. There's everything kind of lines up perfectly for you to share and enjoy the intimacy of that person. And so how you date and how you relate to that person, all of those things lead up to that moment. But when you miss moments, or when you take that moment too soon and you haven't gotten to know the person, you haven't seen them on good days and bad days, you really haven't shared much, now the moment gets mixed. And people start talking about that. When you have relations, now there's mixed signals. There's a different expectation now. Because I've given myself to you, and now I want more, and now I'm trying to figure out where do I fit.
Well, with that being said, since we want to let Lawrence leave on a happy note, we thank you tonight for tuning into A Different Identity radio talk show. Join us next week and every week going forward, thanks to our listeners. We will have Calm Lawrence and Controversial Pam. See you next week. Tell them bye, Lawrence.
Welcome to my happy place.
Good night, everyone. See you all next week.
Progressive presents Mindflowness with Flo.
Your aura brims with confidence. The Name Your Price tool has given you policy options based on your budget. A source of great power rises from within, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex that can shoot dragons out of its eyes, riding on a tank.
Get insurance based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Getting lost in the music is great, except if you're driving. Nissan's available Intelligent Safety Shield technologies could help you avoid bad drivers. Hurry into your local Nissan store and get great offers during the Safety Today event. Or shop ChooseNissan.com today. Now, back to the music.